Well, apparently some people don't know the difference between a resume and a bio. Like if I'm inviting you on my show and I ask for a bio, I don't want your resume. Resume is about your work experience, whereas a bio, while it may include your work experience, but it's more about you, who you are, where you're from, what your dreams are, things of that nature, right? Welcome to Small Talk.
Any and all are welcome here to come and chat with me.
Hello, everyone. Time for another episode of Small Talk. With me today is Realtor Matt Paisley. Matt, welcome to the show.
All right. Thanks for having me, Nancy.
It's a pleasure. Now, what I want to know is at what point in your life did you decide to become a realtor?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. So for about 26 years, I was working in a completely different industry. I actually owned a company in town called Pollard Equipment. So it was a heavy equipment repair company. I worked there for about 10 years before I got an opportunity to purchase into the company. But honestly, around 2015, me and my partners, we could just kind of see things were changing. The way, I was very much a handshake, and if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something guy. Yeah. And all of a sudden that changed. Everything became, it sounds crazy to complain about it, but it was all contracts. And, you couldn't just give your word to somebody that you're right. going to do something and have that mean something. So that really bothered me. I mean, I understood the need for contracts, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I had always given my word to someone. And I thought, if I tell someone I'm going to do something, I expect that I'm going to do it, and I expect that they're going to do what they tell me they're going to do. And the industry just got away from that. It got to the point where it was very difficult to do deals. It was very difficult. Everything was taking twice as long, and it wasn't fun anymore.
Right.
And whatever you do, you got to be having fun.
Yes.
And it was just wearing on me. It became very stressful. Mm-hmm. And so in 2000, this happened around 2015, but in 2016, my partners and we all kind of decided, let's come up with a bit of an exit plan here and decide to move on. So in 2016, we kind of changed everything, the way we treated the business, and we turned it, every decision that was made about improving the bottom line and made the business more appealing to buy to somebody. Oh. And then in 2017, we put it up for sale, and I didn't know what I was going to do.
Okay.
I just knew that part of my life was over. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of, we put it up for sale. I'd always had, things in the back of my head that I wanted to do and thought it would be a lot of fun. But I just didn't know, so we sold it. And we cut a deal to stay up with the company that bought us. We cut a deal to stay on with them. And around that time, and it was supposed to be for 3 years. Okay. So as in 2019, we actually did the deal, the beginning, and then we had to stay on for 3 years. Anyhow, I found out pretty quick working for somebody was not my thing. Sure, all those other issues in the industry weren't my burden to bear anymore, but that comes, now you're an employee, and that came with another set of issues. So yeah, I wasn't having fun again. And so, I was sitting there and I was thinking, okay, what am I going to do with myself? And real estate had always been in the back of my head, for no other reason than the fact that I'm a salesman. I've always just been a sales guy. Right. And I hate admitting that because I don't like salesmen, but anyhow, my friend Jason Lanes, who I'm working with now, he was dropping by once in a while to say hello. And he put the bug in my ear and he said, hey, you know, I know we talked about it a while ago. You ever think about doing real estate? And I just kind of looked at him and said, nah, not my thing. I mean, I like real estate. I've got a lot tied up in real estate in my life, but no, I'm going to move on from sales. I'm going to do something different. And then I started thinking, you know, I really do like real estate. I do like sales. Why wouldn't I go and do something that I really like? You know, because that's what it's supposed to be about, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I looked at, you know, what the lifestyle it could afford me. And I wanted, I mean, the big things was where I wanted time for myself and to do the things that I like to do. I liked the idea. I wanted to be working for myself again. I didn't want, you know, a series of, you know, 15 people that were relying on me anymore. Because that adds a lot of stress when you're trying to manage 15 other people with 15 other families and making sure that they're all taken care of. I just wanted to kind of dial it right back, worry about myself first and foremost, have the time to do the things I wanted to do, still continue to sell because I like doing that. And, you know, you started packaging it all together, and the lifestyle that, you know, being a real estate agent offered kind of, you know, played into that. And then, you know, then that got my gears turning. So anyhow, actually, I'll go back to that. And so that was in beginning of 2019. I was really considering it then. 2020 hits, and the pandemic, the industry that I was in completely changed. I was very frustrated with everything. And Jason keeps coming by saying, let's do this. I actually ended up having a bit of a falling out with one of my 5 managers. I was in a big corporate company now. And I had 5 people I had to report to. Right. I had a falling out with one of them over something minor. And that day, Jason happened to pull into the parking lot and said, let's just talk one more time. And I just smiled and I said, yeah, let's do this. So it was, you know, it was a slow build up to it. And it's something that I was always in the back of my head, but I always thought, you know, I really wanted to do something other than sales. But when you know, that's your comfort level. And so I did that. But the part you're going to smile about is, so before I even went into the heavy equipment business, as an 18-year-old, I was looking for something to do before I went to college. And so I took that job as just a summer job, right? Just to get me by before I went to university. And I wanted to go to university for filmmaking. That was my big, I wanted to do. And whether it was, I mean, I was really drawn to documentary making and things like that, but I've always had a bit of a quirky sense of humor too. So, you know, that was a big part of, you know, now we are 26 years down the road thinking I'd love to be able to do something like that. But honestly, that's not going to pay the bills either. So I thought, you know, I made that decision to become a realtor. And I thought, well, now I'm going to revisit those roots and have a little bit of fun and make some fun videos and try and sell myself that way. And I mean, you got to be a part of one of them, right?
That was fun. Yeah.
And it was definitely a lot of fun. So I find, although, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm good at sales. I like doing what I do. I love being in real estate, you know, but I still like to be able to draw from
the other side.
You know, like the idea of, you know, I like making people smile. I like producing fun little videos, you know, and so now I can combine it all and have a little bit of fun with it, right?
Yeah, I love that you do that. I think it's awesome. You know, I even, you know, you must get the same thing on Facebook. They would say people you might know, and you click on to see the profile. And I know before reading their profile that they're realtors by their posts or something about them. And you don't have that, which I like. I don't like that they all look the same, you know?
Yeah, well, it's funny. Sorry, go ahead.
So that's one thing you have going for you is that you're posing at the same, and that the fact that you put in your little ads that are fun. I love that.
So one of the things, I mean, I'm not a fool. I understand that the real estate market is, or the real estate business is a very competitive business.
Yeah.
I mean, last count, I want to say there was 380 realtors in Chilliwack now.
Oh,
You know, and they're all working very hard, and I've met so many good people, right?
yes.
But yeah, I mean, it feels like a little bit of a cookie cutter mentality when you come out, right? And I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to be my own person, and I don't want to look like, you know, the other, you know, every other realtor out there. And I'm not trying to take away, because they're
No, I hear you.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to differentiate myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so. And I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone wants a realtor that's got a quirky sense of humor and looks at life a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Those people, if they don't like that, well, then they're probably not the type of client that wants to work with me, and they're probably not the type of client I want to work with anyhow.
And there's lots of the other guys.
That's right. And so I've had a lot of people kind of reach out and say, you know what, you actually just feel like a real guy, just a regular dude.
Yes.
And so I've just kind of embraced that. And you're not going to see me, you know, in the 3-piece suit and the tie and, you know, doing that. I still do the things that we need to do as realtors to try and generate business. Mm-hmm. But I do it in my way. And I do it in a way that I can smile, and maybe some other people are going to smile and have a bit of fun with too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Such as the welcome mat.
Yes.
talk about that for people who don't know what that is. Talk about that.
Well, so the welcome mat, I don't know how to describe it. It just kind of came to me one day, and everything. I mean, I just want to be a play on words is all I wanted, right? And lots of other realtors, you know, their web, it all actually born out of the idea for a website, and. So a lot of other realtors will use their name as their web domain, because that's the brand you're selling. And I fully understand that. I mean, I'm not trying to take away from the proper way of branding. But again, who's going to just go, oh, Matt Paisley, that sounds interesting, click. You know, I wouldn't click on it, you know. But I mean, I thought, well, let's have a little bit of fun. I still want my name in there, and let's, you know, what's something that's welcoming. And I just kept saying, I got to think of something that's welcoming. What's welcoming? What's something that people are going to want to click on? And I was stuck on it, and I was frustrated. And I was like, oh, I can't think of something great. What can be welcoming? It's got to be welcoming. And then I'm not kidding. I'm like, I walk over to a friend's, I look at their front doorstep, and there's a welcome mat.
That's so cool. Now, as the welcome mat, also you have, I think it's a weekly, whatever, the weekly thing on Chill TV, right?
So actually, honestly, it's not a weekly thing anymore.
It's not weekly. Oh, okay.
No. So originally it was bi-weekly, and that was really to get my name out there, get a little bit of you know, facial recognition, and understand, you know, have people understand what I was all about. Right. We've moved to a monthly format now. And really, the whole idea is on a monthly basis, we're going to give the people at Chilliwack a snapshot of what the sales figures look like, because we as realtors get access to a lot of information that other people don't, obviously. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I want to kind of create a situation where I can put that information into a really easy to understand, fun little way, and then just kind of present an issue that I see going on in the community, you know. And so I'm fun. I'm a happy guy, but I'm also a bit of a crusader. And so when I see an issue that bothers me, I look at my platforms and how can I use those platforms to help other people. Mm-hmm. And so I've been using Chill TV as a really good vehicle. I mean, I am frustrated as a realtor. This sounds crazy. I'm probably the world's worst sales guy in this sense, because I can't stand the fact that housing prices are out of control. And I know a lot of people say, well, that's great for you. I think it's awful for the community. I mean, it's everywhere, of course. But I mean, new families. I mean, I have a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old, and they should not be worried and stressed about how they're going to buy a home. right? That should not be a concern that they have at that age. They've still got lots of other things they need to worry about.
Yeah.
But they're actually, these are concerns and questions. My 17-year-old brings this up to me once a week. How am I ever going to buy a house, Dad?
Yeah.
And so, house pricing and rental affordability, these are things I'm super passionate about. And I'm always trying to find the angle and understand why it is the way it is. And if there's wrong being done to create that, I try to expose it. Right. And so I've become a little bit of a crusader in the last little while to that. I mean, I know a lot of people think I shouldn't be using my vehicle or the platforms I'm on as a vehicle for that. But again, I don't care.
Yeah, why not? I don't understand. And I appreciate hearing that, because I'm a person who feels I'm stuck where I am. I'd love to move out of here, because I'm in a strata. Yeah. And it's not for everybody. Okay. No. And I'm one of those people that it's not for. But where do you go?
And that's the problem right now, is people feel stuck. And I'm working with a number of buyers that would love to be in a different opportunity, whether it's moving out of a strata, moving into a bigger home because they've got a family that's growing. Sure. But there's this market and this speculation that's happening in the market it's made homes unaffordable. Yeah. But more so than making things unaffordable, it's actually put fear in people to try and sell and upgrade. They may be able to afford. I mean, if you're in the market and you're trying to upgrade, you probably have equity in the home. You probably have the ability to go out and get a bit more of a loan to upgrade, that $100,000 to the next bigger unit. Mm-hmm. But people are afraid to do that. So, I know people that are, 3 kids living in a 2-bedroom, apartment, and desperate to get into a townhouse, but afraid because, you can't, and this is the awful part about the market right now, because of the amount of speculation buying, every deal has got about at least 5 or 6 offers on it. Wow. And so the sellers are never going to accept an offer that has subject to sale or subject to anything like that on it. So you almost have to go out and take a risk and say, no subjects, which is something that's a completely different argument that I can't stand. But anyhow, so there's these risks that young families are having to take that really shouldn't be. And it drives me crazy. I hate it. And so I just try to find a way around that. And I'm not trying to bring levity to that situation, but I'm trying to make people aware of what I think is going on. Yeah. Whether they listen to it or not, that's their perspective. But yeah.
Have you found any reasoning for it? Anything at all?
I actually I have a strong opinion on it. But I can't, it's nothing I can prove. So I'm going to be very careful about. I spend, with the days that I'm not working with people and I'm not doing anything proactive, in a sense, I spend a lot of time researching and looking at historical sales, looking at who's buying, looking at where those buyers are coming from. Right. I just trying to educate myself on the economics of the industry and the trends. And so I look at those, and it's very, as you read and see, it becomes very clear what's happening. Right. But it's clear what's happening, but it would be unfair for me to speculate on the motives of the people that are driving, creating the problems that they are. So that would be unfair for me to say, and I'm not going to point the finger, if you know.
I understand. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
So really what I do is I take that information, and now I try to, make something positive out of it and find ways to help people navigate those issues.
Right. Yeah. One of the things I think too is some of the bylaws need to be changed for different housing ideas and, situations, right?
So one of the great tools that we have as realtors that everybody in the community has is the official community plan.
The which?
And the official community plan.
Oh, okay.
So have you heard of that?
No.
Okay, so the official community plan, or the OCP, it's like a roadmap to what the rest or what development is going to look like in the future in Chilliwack. And so right now, the OCP, that's the official community plan, is drawn out to a time period of 2040. And the city projects what population is going to look like, where the population is going to live, how the population is going to live. It's extremely interesting, but it's a combination of I mean, it can be a little bit dry, if you don't know what zonings are and all that.
Yes, right.
But it talks about bylaws and it talks about zonings, and it gives people an idea where they might end up living and where they might want to go. And so that it's a great tool for, so somebody that's trying to understand. Here's a great example. I've got one family that they're in a very dense area right now, and they just do not want to be in that dense area. So they thought, well, let's move out to Vetter. A Vetter area might be a nice, it's growing, but it's not growing really fast. And it might be a nice change of pace from the densification that we're experiencing where we are currently. So I showed them the OCP, and the OCP, it actually tells you right in there, our plan for Vetter is high density housing. We want to get as many people into that area as possible. So they would not have been happy. I mean, the area that they were looking at might have been appealing now, but 10
long
years
term,
from now,
you
you could be a house among high rises, right?
And
so there's, it's a very good tool, and like I said, that takes a lot of it brings zoning, bylaws, all those sort of things into focus, and helps people make a decision on where they want to be. And so I'm an OCP nerd, they call me at the office, right? Because I spend so much time reading the official community plan. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome.
Here's an interesting nugget for you on the OCP. Last year, the Chilliwack population was 101,000. And the OCP called for, the city was predicting a population of 130,000 by 2040. We already gained 12,000 of those new bodies last year, just in 1 year.
Wow.
So they're going back to the OCP, and they're actually redoing the Vetter one right now because everything is accelerating beyond what they expected.
Right.
So,
well, it makes sense, because if you can't afford to live in Vancouver or going towards that, you're going to come east, right?
Oh, absolutely. So the big driver, there's a couple big drivers right now. There's last year, I want to say it was 401,000 new immigrants to Canada, spread mostly over Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver. So if you've got a third of those people coming to Vancouver, either they're trying to find somewhere in Vancouver, which displaces Vancouverites and pushes them out this way, or they can't afford to buy something in Vancouver, so the new immigrants start coming this way. Maybe they go to Langley, and the Langley residents are displaced and come out here.
Right.
So it is, and this year the federal government's looking to bring in another 411,000 immigrants. So really, we're looking at that same supply and demand issue, and that's going to keep, like you said, that's going to keep pushing people this way.
Yeah, right. Then where does it push us?
and this is the frustrating part, because
I don't fault anybody. I don't fault the immigrants at all. To me, everybody's welcome, right?
Absolutely. That's what's made Canada such a beautiful place to be, is because we are so welcoming. Yeah. Right. But we have to make sure we have the infrastructure to support these people.
Sure. Yeah. Well, on that note, Matt, we're going to end this. I really appreciate you. Very knowledgeable, lots of great information. And now people want to get a hold of you for the realty part of the interview.
I'm happy just to talk to anybody about anything, though.
Okay, that's so cool. But you have a website, right? The Welcome Matt. They can find you there. I'll make sure that's included. And I want to thank you for being here. And I want to thank the audience for tuning in and Hopefully you'll subscribe and keep watching the show. I appreciate that. And thanks again, Matt. And thank you, everybody. And peace out.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.